Action. Panerai for Arnold. And Sylvester Stallone.
I thought this little watch, dude.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Hi guys, I'm Patrick.
I'm Adam.
And this is Clock,
Stock, and Barrel.
Coming at you with a consumer's opinion about everything watch related.
Boom.
We don't have a box for this one, do we?
No box. I didn't bring it. It's way too big. But
just like the watch,
we are reviewing the Panerai PAM00380, a grail of mine. Probably actually the oldest grail in the book for me.
Yeah.
That I finally picked up. So we'll kind of talk about that little process there and just kind of touch on the Panerai's history a little bit.
There's Radiomir?
Radiomir, yeah.
Okay.
Little quick history lesson. The reason why it's called the Radiomir is because when they first started using radium on the dials, as like loom, radium dials, they just called it the Radiomir, and that was that.
So it's not true. This is a falsehood. This is false advertising.
Oh, because it doesn't have radium? Now?
No, there's no radium in here.
Oh yeah, I know. But back in the day, it did. in pre-World War II, it did.
That's sick.
That's how old this is. Like this, well, not this piece, but
yeah, this is a 2016 acquisition. This is 2016 watch for Adam, and it's it's a grail. It's hyper reflective. You're gonna see us. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to angle it so you don't see us. I know I know some of you are tired of seeing us and you just want the watch on screen.
So I'll give you guys.
I totally get it.
While Pat's kind of showing this, I'm gonna give you guys a really quick background on how this was my grail and everything. So when I first really got into watches, I was probably 19 or 20 years old.
That's sub-seconds. Oh, so beautiful.
Awesome, right?
Everything about this is just very, very beautifully finished.
Yeah. So this is the PAM00380, guys. This is like a base model Radiomir. So when I first got into watches, I have really had two grails. We're talking when I was 20 years old, and I didn't even call Panerai. I called it like Panerai. I called it Panerai. I actually talked to someone and called it a Panerai, and he had an IWC, and he was probably just laughing inside when he heard me say that. But I remember seeing...
Think about getting a Panerai.
Yeah, Panerai. A Panerai Radio.
They have this deal where you get half of a sandwich and a bowl of soup.
Yeah. So the Radiomir was effectively my first grail ever. It was this and a black dial Navitimer.
You still want the Navitimer?
I don't want the Navitimer anymore. But I still always wanted a Panerai, so I finally picked up a base model.
It is hyper reflective.
I
love it. Every
polished
surface.
bits. Hopefully you guys are picking up how beautiful this case is in this B-cam footage.
So guys, this is literally a first impression for me. I knew Adam got this watch a little while ago. It's really great, but of course we're going to go over some stats for you first before we get into my thoughts, and then obviously Adam's time with it. You've had it for how long now?
Almost 2 months.
Really?
Month.
Okay.
1 month, I'd say.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get to.
All right, guys. So this is the Panerai PAM00380, as I mentioned. It is the Radiomir Black Seal logo. As you can see, it has the OP logo right under Panerai there.
So that's the same. That's on
characteristic.
The crown,
yeah, characteristic of the Black Seal line. So the dial is obviously black with luminous Arabic numerals. I believe it has super luminova, sapphire crystal, ever so slightly domed, right? Is how you described it. It has a case thickness or case size of 45 millimeters, and I believe the case thickness is just a little over 12. It doesn't have the exact stats here. 3/16 steel. It is very thin though because it is a manual wound piece. It has the OP caliber 2, which is a 17 jewel. It's basically a Unitas, a Panerai sort of a decorated Unitas manual wound movement. Beats at 21,600 beats per hour. Power reserve of 56 hours, and it is COSC certified as well. It actually comes with the COSC papers, which is really cool. I have the full box and papers and everything at home. You guys can see this small sub dial at 9 o'clock. The original Radiomir actually had a 9 right where that subdial is, and then I believe part of the history is some of the actual frogmen that were using the Radiomir complained because they needed seconds as well, so they added the subdial seconds there.
Oh, because you can get these without second hands.
There are there's a million different ones these days.
They're gorgeous too.
Has the wire lug system, which is actually really interesting.
Yeah. Talk about that?
Yeah. So what you do is you unscrew, not completely, just unscrew, loosen those screws back there. Then you pull the entire. You just yank on the strap, and the entire wire lug comes out. And there's an intersection point right in the middle of that strap, and you basically just twist and pull apart. So the lug itself is 2 pieces, and it's not too bad to change straps, and it has a 27 millimeter standard strap thickness.
Yeah.
The aftermarket ones that I buy are 26, and they fit perfectly. As you guys
27?
know,
This is 26 or 27?
that one's 27. As you guys know, or you don't know, in the Panerai community, a lot of people are huge into changing straps. That's one of the the biggest features. People have like dozens and dozens of straps. So you guys can see in the B cam here some of the straps that I've already picked up. First, we'll show.
There's one.
This is the actual OEM black strap that it comes on, and it's kind of cool. The Panerai has a list on their website of the rigorous tests that it goes through. It's a very, very dense calf skin.
This leather
that's
strap.
actually pretty, yes, the black one. That's actually pretty water resistant. It goes through some crazy tests.
This looks really similar to this guy, but this
it does,
aftermarket.
yeah. This is also OEM. I got this with the purchase. It's called I don't know how to pronounce this. I would have to look at the thing, but it's called like an Ossolamente strap. It's basically just an unfinished OEM strap. And then these straps, including the one that I have on the watch, are from Panerai, which are also great quality. And this is just kind of to showcase the different kind of straps and cool color combinations that you can have with Panerai, and what kind of the Panerai community is famous for is swapping around all these straps.
Yeah, so you get an idea. It's such an interesting. I had no idea that this was a hobby or
the Paneristi is what they call the people that are super into Panerais and have multiple ones and multiple straps. So
yeah, I had no idea that was like a thing for.
Look at that. That's a perfect thumbnail right there.
Hey, maybe it will be. I was just thinking that. Yeah, this is such a cool watch.
Screw down crown, 200-meter resistant, so no problem going in the water with it. I'm gonna pick up a rubber strap as well for this.
Just like my Belova quartz.
Yeah.
That thing's 100-meter water resistant.
It is,
right?
with the screw down crown, right?
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I've worn that thing in the water. It's great. 100 meters is all you need, guys. 10 bar, 100 meters. If it says that on the dial, even if it's not screw down, you should be fine to wear that swimming or in the shower.
Quick note, guys, about these OEM straps. They are hella expensive. I think the cheapest calfskin strap you can get is around $180, which is why people go aftermarket a lot. And if you handle these two, Patrick will take a look at these two, you can see that there really is not that much of a quality difference from kind of feel and finish.
I like how they do the...
And this is about a quarter of the price almost of the OEM strap.
Really?
Yeah.
So. No kidding, that feels great. Yeah, it's I don't know, they're... Okay, so from a novice perspective of the Panerai strap, the buckles are very similar. I like how the buckles on the... Oh, I like how it's screwed in there, by the way.
Yeah,
this is the original strap.
That's the
buckle.
original buckle, yep.
So this is the buckle for the other watch. It looks almost like a strap, or a buckle rather, you'd find on a Flieger. But this one's nice because it's a little bit thinner in profile. It probably sinks into the wrist a lot nicer. This is wide.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be too much wider.
Yeah, I mean, they have different options. They have ones with thinner straps. I still want to pick up like a black crocodile strap, a tan ostrich strap, and a rubber strap for this, and that would be perfect for me, But these are obviously way, these straps are way wider than anything else you'll find really on most other watches. I mean, 26 millimeters, 27 at the end for the...
Absurd.
I mean, there's a pretty extreme taper down, but the fact that it joins at the watch right at 27 is pretty crazy. But it works really well with the watch because of the wire lugs, so it doesn't look like you have some crazy... it fits the Radiomir perfectly.
Yeah.
So,
it does. It definitely does.
A lot of people opt for the Luminor, which is the Panerai with the crown guard.
Yeah, slightly
also lugs instead of wire lugs. There's also the 1950 Radiomir that has lugs and this type of onion crown as well. Lots of different Panerai versions, but this is the truest. This is the most authentic military watch because some of the history, as you guys may or may not know and can look it up easily on the internet, Rolex partnered with Panerai. Panerai was responsible for the cases, and they actually supplied these watches to various navies, most notably the Italian Navy, the Italian Frogman, and the Radiomir was the first kind of contracted watch that they used. Later on, the Luminor came into place, but this is kind of the OG military Panerai. So,
Sick little one.
So it's numbered out of 1,000, which is really cool too.
Yeah.
It's not a limited edition, but every Panerai is kind of a limited edition, limited to a certain number. And the 2016 PAM00380 is limited to 1,000 pieces. So
it's sick. So guys, I've seen, this, and you can disagree with me or correct me. It's totally fine. But I feel like of replicated watches, I see so many people do homages for Panerai as well. Like there's Rolex Submariner homages, and then there's Panerai homages like right under that. Because I see so many companies do this look, and to be honest, I didn't really get it. In a way, I still don't get it because it's a very unique look. This isn't something you need to recreate, but a lot of people do. I don't know if these sell as hot as Submariners. You can tell me. But having one in hand, I've had a watch I still have it. My Belova is actually very similar in style to this.
Oh, with the cushion case,
yeah. We did a review of that a little while ago. It doesn't have wired lugs, but it's very, very similar in aesthetic. But by no means is it the same. This is such a good heft to it. It's almost as rugged as your Zin U1 feels.
Yeah. It's a
really
watch,
more
really.
So, honestly. Yeah, well, it was made as a tool.
Exactly.
And it's very, very beautiful. So some of the things that I noticed right off the bat with this particular piece, I love the blacked out hands. They just sink into the dial. And then that stripe of lume, it just perfectly mirrors what you're seeing on the dial with the numbers and the batons. Also, I love the sub-seconds hand. Its placement's great. Its size is perfect. And it seems small relative to the watch, but on the wrist, it's actually quite easy to see. I don't need to see a sub-seconds hand so much. I'd actually be fine with one with the 9 being there. But it's not... Legibility is not an issue with this watch.
And guys, even though this is a 45mm watch, it's kind of hard to tell here because the camera is zoomed in on the watch, so it appears a little bit bigger. But I'll also show you guys on the main camera, so you can see it in relation to my torso and my arms, that it actually wears really well. And that has to do with the lug-to-lug long ways. It's basically non-existent because the cushion case is 45 all around.
Yeah, it's a square case design.
Yeah, so. But the lugs just come out just ever so slightly, a couple millimeters, So this can't be more than like a 48mm lug to lug. So it's kind of hard to see in the B cam. I think it's a little bit better. A wrist shot from here kind of puts into perspective the actual size and how well it fits on a 7.25-inch wrist.
And you say, it's funny, like the thing I hear most about the Panerai is that it's a big watch. And there's no mistaking it. It is a rather big watch, but it honestly is, for at least a 7.25-inch wrist, we both have the same wrist size, it's a genuinely the perfect size for a square watch. It looks really, really good on the wrist.
Yeah.
I see no issues wearing this, and I saw no issues with it on your wrist. I think the standout features are the crown. The crown action is fantastic. The dial face and just how sleek and sophisticated this watch looks. Yet its presence is so large. You know what I mean? It's Panerai has made a name for themselves off of the Radiomir and the Luminor, and I can see why they're so popular now, having them in hand, or having the Radiomir rather in hand. I never really looked into them. I've never quite been interested. My tastes are slightly different than Adam's, But just having this in hand is so nice. I don't know if I'd be a massive strap collector for it. Do they do bracelets?
They do have, not for the Radiomir. The Luminor has like 3 different style bracelets.
Oh, yeah?
They're a little, the bracelet though on a Luminor, that thing is like a Breitling on steroids. That is the flashiest thing you'll ever see.
No kidding, dude.
Yeah.
But so far as this guy's concerned, I think it's phenomenal. I'm going to say a little piece. I think it's on the cusp of being too big for the modern gentleman, but still like true to form. Like this is accurate sizing for a Radiomir, like it's always been.
Yes, I'm almost positive it's always been that exact same size.
Okay.
It's always been large because obviously with divers, they need something that's really big and really legible. And you can see some pictures of the old Italian frogmen. If you just kind of Google around, you'll see how big those watches look on their wrist. So almost positive they might have even been bigger. I know they make them in 47 now too, and they have some kind of throwback models that look identical to some of the original Panerais, and they have some of them in 47 as well. So.
By the way, like he told you guys about the beat rate earlier. With smaller subdials, it's not really an issue.
Yeah,
if you can tell. I love when you do sub-seconds hands on a beat rate that's a little bit more sluggish than the typical high beat rate watch, or at least one that's not at least 28,000.
That's how the Speedmaster is too. The 861 movement.
Yeah.
It's the exact same one.
Yeah.
But it has that small sub-second, so you can't even tell.
Yeah. There's just really sleek sophistication to this watch that's actually rather big in stature, but it somehow manages. I think it's its thin profile that it's its saving grace.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel like it's too big.
Yeah, fits under the cuff really well because, like I said, I think it's like around. It's no more than 13 millimeters, but I think it's closer to right around 12.
So what were your thoughts on this guy wearing it day to day?
I mean, I love it. Sometimes I have to get used to the slightly larger size because I wear watches from 34, 35 all the way up to 45. So kind of shifting back and forth.
Give you guys a little bit of perspective.
Yeah.
This is what 34 looks like.
To shift back and forth between these type of pieces. And see, it doesn't even look that bad there because of that lug width, you know?
Yeah.
Or because of the wire lugs. It takes a little getting used to, but the presence, like even, I'm not going to lie, when I look in the mirror sometimes and I just see it, I'm like, damn, that is a good ass looking watch. You know what I mean? And I've recently really sort of gotten into the different like leathers and stuff like that. So that's a big fun part of owning a Panerai is swapping the straps. You know, black to brown to some crazy color if you want to rubber if you want to rock it on the beach.
It goes well with so many different looks too, so far as accessories are concerned. Strap
Absolutely.
Options. You know, it's just
very versatile.
It's such a simple look that how could it not pair well with anything?
Yeah.
There are some really crazy strap options out there that I've seen, but leather is sort of traditional.
And Panerai has grown, as you guys know or may not know, Sylvester Stallone is kind of the one that brought it to life. In the mid 90s, he swung by a boutique and found it. And I think the original Panerai boutique is in Florence, and that thing opened in like the mid to late 1800s, and that's still that same boutique there. But yeah, there's so many different versions of Panerais too. There's a really sick looking Radiomir that's all black ceramic, and then it has like a tan strap, so you can imagine a tan strap on an all-black Radiomir. It looks great. So many different versions, 1940s, 1950s versions of the Luminor and the Radiomir. Different movements. This has the, a pretty standard OP2 caliber, which is the Unitas, but they have the 8-day power reserves now found in the Radiomirs and the Luminors. 3-day power reserves. I opted for the base model, easily serviceable, Unitas-based movement. But you can't really go wrong with this. You are paying obviously mostly for the name and the case finishing. I will say that because the Unitas can be found in watches that are much cheaper. But to me, that Italian heritage, the soul of the brand, everything that comes along with Panerai was totally worth it. And of course, it has a soft spot in my heart because this was one of the original grails of mine when I first got into watches.
This is great.
And
it's funny, it's like it doesn't have a minute track at all. It's like an approximate time.
Yeah, and it doesn't even hack either.
No.
It doesn't even hack, so it's like you're sort of ballparking like it's like an I don't kind of give a fuck attitude with this thing.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's so easily legible. It is a real charmer though.
Yeah.
There's an undeniable charm to it. You know, that I'm sure you can find with an homage, because there's so many. But having one of these in my hands is just so great.
Yeah, and as you guys know, I got that Loom Tech a while back because I really wanted a Panerai, but I finally just pulled the trigger on a Panerai. So
glad you did. That's perfect bedside clock too.
Right? Yeah.
Look at that thing. That's
has great loom too. It looks gorgeous when you're walking into a room and you see those big 12-36 and those batons and that green, bright green loom. So I'm really happy with this purchase. I think this is, if not a keeper for life, it'll be a keeper for probably a good long time. My girlfriend absolutely loves this piece too. So if you have girlfriends that like big watches, that are into like the big watch fad with Michael Kors and all that shit, they're probably going to steal your Panerai. Yeah. The first 2 weeks I owned this, I barely got any wrist time because she was the one that was taking it most of the time.
That's so funny.
But yeah, that's pretty much, those are pretty much all my thoughts on it, you know, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not fully converted. I mean, I remember, you know, how I feel about watches. I do like smaller frames. Like when I saw your Speedmaster, it was on the cusp of 41 millimeter. That feels kind of big for me now.
It was 42.
42.
Yeah, so that's really pushing it, you know, for you, yeah.
Oddly, but it doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's one of those sort of icons.
It wears smaller on the leather too, like I had it. So that's probably, you know, kind of.
This guy's sick though. It really is nice. I personally like the Luminor. I'd love to have one in hand. I just love the crown guard. I love the overall design.
Agreed.
But no, definitely check out a boutique.
Luminors are also pricier. This base model you can get for, I think the retail is $4,200, but you can get these easily under $4,000, gray market, or probably even at an AD if you negotiate with them. To be honest, you know, I got this secondhand. One thing you got to be careful with is there are a lot of fakes when it comes to Panerai, especially the Luminor, and they're so damn good that some people and some like dealers won't even trade with Panerais because the fakes are that damn good. That's crazy. I was really lucky. I got full paperwork. I knew the guy. I did all my research, all the due diligence that I needed to. It was purchased from an AD in Houston. Everything checked out. So I was lucky enough to get a really good deal on a secondhand Radiomir. So minty condition too, and an extra strap on top of the black one. So
I love a good deal.
$180 value, yours for free.
Yeah, can't beat that, guys. If you like value propositions and good deals, you should like this video.
Or dislike because Panerai is so overpriced.
or yeah, it's okay.
Or just like it if you like Panerai. Or if you don't like Panerai, just like it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Like is universal. Guys, subscribe to the channel. We're building a community here of really, really great people. If you enjoy our content, you should be a part of that community. We enjoy listening to you guys in the comment box, so feel free to comment on this video. If you own a Panerai or you're thinking about getting a Panerai, feel free to ask us any questions, or anyone who's on the subscribers list, because we all love talking about watches. That's what we're here to do. Guys, if you feel like this video would be appropriate for one of your friends, share it. Share this video. Sharing is caring. Isn't that a Panerai slogan?
Yeah, I think
I borrow it?
Also, like, once you go Panerai, you never go.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us on this video. We will see you most likely on the next one.